and welcome to Ireb number 17. This is our next podcast, and our guest today is Lisa Nemer Noah. She is the chair of Senate District 51. Welcome, Lisa, to our podcast.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
It's nice to see you. And Lisa and I give a little background and introduction to her. Lisa and I have been friends I was trying to figure it out. It's like over 3 years, maybe getting closer to 4 years now. Mm-hmm. It was prior to the 2016 election cycle. A guy got involved volunteering in the Senate district. Lisa you were just the vice chair
yes.
At that time. Yep. And I know when, and I was trying to think back, how long ago was at the convention you got elected, right? Or right shortly.
It's been less than a year. It's like
March. Yes. March, yeah, right. But it's been, you've really, I think, impressed a lot of people with the work that you've done. And, one of the reasons, you're just kind of a fun person, but you're an interesting person too. And being the chair of one of the best organized Senate districts in the state, I wanted to, talk a little bit about and highlight your work. And so really, first, let's take just tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? Where you went to school, your family, just give me a little bit of a brief bio of things that you're willing to share here, please.
Well, I was born in Minneapolis, and I grew up in Crystal, which is a suburb you never hear of, but it's just right outside of Minneapolis. And I was raised by my mom, and she was a teacher. She was active in the DFL out in Crystal. And so I've kind of been born into politics because she used to drag me around to all the stuff that she went to. And then I went to Hamline University in St. Paul for college. And, when you sign up your sheet of what you're interested in, I put down politics, DFL politics. And so they matched me up with David Noah, who had put the same thing on his sheet. And as you know, we eventually got married, but during college, we were just friends, and we started up the college DFL together there. Then after college, got married, started working, had kids, and I kind of backed away from politics for a while because I wanted to, do other things, be involved with my kids. And then when they grew up and moved away, got back involved. Dave stayed more involved than I did throughout, but I was busy with work and kids, so I wasn't as involved. And then I got back into it, and John Wells was chair at the time, and he needed a vice chair. And there's gender balance in the DFL, so if you have a male chair, you have to have a non-male vice chair, and there wasn't really anybody who wanted to do it. So I had just read Sheryl Sandberg's book, Lean In, and so I was like, okay, I can do this. And I actually never thought that I would then become chair. I was just kind of being a placeholder for what they needed. But as I got more involved and I had more fun with it, and I thought, well, I could do this. And so then when John was done being chair, I ran for chair.
And we're won unanimously, as I recall. There was no dissension. It was a great And since you've been chair, you've been doing a fantastic job too. I just like you to know that and I've heard that from a number of the folks in the Senate district. They really like the work that you're doing and the energy that you're putting into it. And one of the things that's really interesting about the work that you do is, how you take things, there's so many moving parts, and you're able to, keep it all moving in the same direction. So there's a lot of organization that goes on in that. So
being really organized, and I always thought that was kind of a lame skill until I realized it's actually one of the best, because pretty much in everything you do, you'll do it better if you're well organized.
Well, and and that's one of the things I've heard is like how people are amazed at your ability. So you had mentioned so that your mom, was active in the party and took you to things. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of a natural flow for you to be active, in politics. But was there a moment? Was there something that you saw that really kind of sold you on the process? I mean, did you always have a sense of inherent fairness? What was it that drew you into it?
Yeah, I mean, of course, being dragged to things, you become familiar with it. And I think that, in that way, I've never felt like an outsider in the party because I just grew up in it. But also the values and what the DFL stands for always resonated really well with me, because I always have been thought that fairness was really important and equal opportunity for all. And so I don't have a big aha moment, but when I was younger, it was always about women's equality, and it still is. I mean, I'm frustrated by the fact that we're still battling the same battles as when I was, younger. But I remember in high school, like I would visit my grandparents in South Dakota, and their paper had a women's page or something like that. And I wrote to the paper, and I was like, why do you have a women's page? You're implying that the rest of the paper is for men and this is the page for women. And it just didn't make sense to me. And, stuff like that always made me angry. So equal rights for women, I guess, would be my major issue. But I'm not a single issue person. I just feel that the DFL has the same values I have. Fairness, equal opportunity for all. You want to have a community that's strong and that has health care for people and good education and good roads and just good governments. And I think that is the values of the DFL.
Yeah, and that's something I know that's important to you. And we had talked a little bit ahead of time. It's like the reasons why you like to be, not just an activist, but part of this party of the DFL. And do you want to go on a little bit more about that? I mean,
yeah. Some people say, I vote for the person, not the party. And I never I love the people who run. I love Angie. I love Lori Halverson. I think they're all great people, but I don't get wrapped up in personalities as much as believing that the party is what's important. So people who say, I just vote for the person, not the party, I feel that they maybe need to think about it a little bit more, because people can say what they want you to hear when they're running for office. So you can't always dig down to really know what their beliefs are. And so if you know that the DFL party stands for this and the Republican Party stands for this, then the candidates that share those same beliefs, if they think that the DFL values are their values, then to me, that's who you vote for. And, you might say, people don't always vote with their party, but they usually do. They almost always do. So even if you think you're going to vote for a Republican who's going to stand strong, how many times do you see that? Especially unless it's a safe vote, then maybe they're allowed to vote the other way to show that they aren't always with the party. But if it's really an important vote, the parties stick together. So that's why I think you figure out which party reflects your values and you vote with that party.
And I agree with that completely. I think, it's actually kind of a simple choice. Yes, no, one side or the other. You can kind of move, it's a decision tree, right? Am I a Republican? Am I a Democrat? Or am I progressive? Or am I conservative?
You may not believe everything. Every single piece of the platform may not jibe completely with your beliefs, but you have to go with the one that is most similar to what you value.
And then, so, give me some advice now, because, I'm new and I've been through, not even a complete 4-year cycle now. It's been about 3 years. I think I've, been involved. I've gone to some caucuses and then served on some committees. What is the way to be heard, or to new activists? And that's who, group, our guys in Ireb are, what's the advice? How best to once you've made that choice, as many of us do, we're gonna caucus with the Democrats because, they're more closely aligned with us, and that Ireb members, some of them, and us have come from different backgrounds, not always from Democrat backgrounds, but they're choosing this because of the new progressive energy. What's your advice to them? How can they be best heard, and how can they best assimilate too? That's another good question.
Just keep showing up. That's the thing. Show up. Just keep showing up. Because that's how you get involved. That's how you have opportunities for leadership. I had never planned to be Senate District Chair, and here I am Senate District Chair because I was there. I showed up and they needed somebody. And that's usually the case. Just keep showing up. And, this whole Trump era has been really frustrating and horrifying, really. But just because we get past this, politics doesn't end. And elections don't end, and we need to stay involved and be active and keep talking about the things that are important to us. Because in the end, it's not about winning elections, as lots of our candidates say. It's about governing and building a community that we all want to live in and that we're all proud of. So I think just keep showing up. And I know, you and I both, a lot of our social life now includes these great people that we've met through our involvement. And it's fun. And, I think it's so easy to become friends with people that you meet through the DFL or Ireb because you already share their values. So it just seems natural to become friends and hang out together. And that's what really makes it worthwhile. If it was all about door knocking and phone banking and all of that, I don't think it would be as fulfilling as, making friends with people, learning about their lives, having fun together. So I just think keep showing up.
Keep showing up. I agree with that, and that's actually one of the things that, a personal mission of mine is to try to elevate the level of involvement. What was expected before was, here. I think now we need to be, showing up for something every week, somewhere in our community, whether it's, with a political party or, volunteering at the library or something, but we all have to, start participating more. And so, that provides another good question, the synergies that we can find between these various groups. One of the, I like looking back at the last election, and honestly, we really kind of killed it here in Senate District 51. I mean, you had posted something, I saw some numbers where on one side of 51 we had over 82% turnout, and on the other we were close, so about 79. And I know in some of those precincts we were probably much higher. Do you have any kind of insights into any of that, or I mean, man, we turned them out here for.
And I know that frustrates you, that like people don't vote. Why not? And it frustrates a lot of us. But really, here we did. I mean, you never got 100%. And I think it was Dean Phillips' congressional district was the #1 vote getter in the country. CD2, where we are, was in the top 10. So it was good. Minnesotans are, they're involved citizens. They're engaged and they care about their community. And I think that's why we always get really good voter turnout here. And as much as we like to think, as a party, the work we did got the vote out, and it surely helped. But it's a lot of things, right? There's no one thing. There's no silver bullet. It's us doing our thing. It's Ireb doing their thing. It's the candidates doing their thing. All of it together somehow contributed to a really, really good voter turnout. And I think Trump also spurred a lot of people because I think a lot of people in this area don't agree with him at all. So he got out the vote as well.
Yeah, and that was actually my favorite part was the repudiation of racist memes and ideas, and knowing that Minnesotans stood up and said, no, we're not about that kind of stuff. And and I agree. I think it was the total package. I'm trying to, and I know people will be looking at this for years to come, and there's no way to get the answer right now. But when we look at like how many House seats we flipped here, we flipped 7 House seats in this Senate or in this congressional district. So I mean, I don't think that happened anywhere else in the country. And so I'm looking at it as like it's all the things. It's like, some of the pickets that were held, or the town halls, or the letters to the editor, or the people showing up on the news or on the radio interviews. I mean, you guys, I don't mean you guys, but I mean the party itself I think had it pretty much figured out to an extent where, because we had the trash pickup and the different things that we're doing to get out into the community, kind of keep people awake and aware that, there's something going on. And I think we hit on a few more cylinders, and it really kind of and of course, yes, Trump definitely was our biggest help in the last year. So going forward now, you've started kind of taking a look at things in the Senate district. You've got some definite ideas about how you like to do things. What can we expect to see and hear from the Senate district going forward? Anything that you want to share?
Yeah, definitely. Well, John Wells and some other people came up with, the mission for our Senate district is to elect Democrats and build a progressive community. So we've done that. We've had our election year. Now we have our off year. And so now we want to build our progressive community. And I really think you do that one person at a time, who shows up, you welcome them, you make them feel comfortable, make them feel included. And that's how you build a progressive community here in Eagan and Burnsville. We have some new ideas. I mean, we're going to do our regular events that we normally do. We're going to do our True Blue event. We haven't picked a date yet. We're going to have our summer picnic. We'll hope to get good speakers, but we also want to try some other things. We're going to start like a monthly Saturday morning coffee where people can just show up and talk about issues together. There's no meeting agenda or anything like that. Just a casual conversation. Maybe that will draw in people who aren't comfortable walking into a meeting room. We have, as you know, Diney on our table officer group. She's a new mom, and she's talked to some of the other new parents in our Senate district about maybe starting a play group where they can get together and still be with their kids, but talk to like-minded Democrats in the area. So just little things like that. We have this thing I call Feminist Night Out, and it's just trying to focus in on things that are maybe written by women or about women. So we're going to a play at the History Theater in February that's about the flight attendants movement to back in the day when it was just women and they had to have a certain weight and all that kind of stuff. So just trying to come up with a lot of little things that will bring people together and build a community so that once we hit the next election year, we're ready to go with a bigger group who can do phone banking and door knocking and all that kind of stuff.
Awesome. So what if someone wanted to get a hold of you, wanted to be participate with the DFL locally? What's the best way for them to contact you or contact the Senate district?
Well, you could just email me at chair@dfl51.org. We also have a website, dfl51.org. And we're on Facebook and Twitter and that too. But yeah, just send me an email, chair@dfl51.org, and I will get you the information you need to get started.
All those links will be included in post-production.
Okay,
well,
good.
It's we've reached the end of our episode. Lisa, it was really a lot of fun visiting with you. I'm looking forward to maybe having you back again real soon. I'd love to have you back to do some panel discussions with us as we start taking a look at some of the local issues. You're one of the large voices in the community, and I respect it very much. And so I appreciate having you on. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for the opportunity.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Take care.